welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. Sometimes we need a little comfort food and there is no mom available. And it's just one or two of us, so we don't want to make an entire pan of lasagna that we're going to be eating for 2 or 3 weeks. I am going to make lasagna for 1 or 2. It's in a bread pan. And there is no particular recipe. I just went through the fridge, and you know that I'm plant-based in my diet. So I found a sweet potato, zucchini, an onion, some garlic that I minced up, and I've got some leftover artichoke hearts. There's cottage cheese, some other kind of white cheese, and I thought, let's just do this. Let's just chit chat. We'll make a lasagna. And the first thing I'm going to do is peel my sweet potato. So we'll peel that into my waste bucket here. Back when we lived on our farm, I had chickens, and they would eat everything that went into the waste bucket. I would just save that all day long. And it was kind of fun because the yolks would sometimes reflect what we were feeding our chickens, especially if it was beets or tomatoes. I'd get a really brightly colored yolk. It's not like the kind you get from the supermarket. Those are always a pale yellow, but yolks can be bright red or orange. And that was always kind of a fun surprise. Sometimes the chickens would get into the garden and we wouldn't know that they had done that until we went to crack the eggs open. So that was one of my adventures from way back when. I like sweet potatoes a lot. I find that they're very dense and they take a long time to cook. So this is one of those things that I tend to put into the microwave and let that get started so that they're soft by the time I add them to the lasagna. You can add whatever veggies you like for your family. And I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about my knife situation today, so I have a selection. But it'll just go a little faster if I get all the ones I could possibly think of to need. And I like to slice this into thin coins. If I have extra, I can put those in the freezer and they hold up really well. And that's kind of fun to put into an egg dish in the morning. The weather's been so rainy and crummy here. I mean, I don't know what I expect. I live in Oregon. But I think we got spoiled with a couple of nice days. And I maybe was a little delusional about the climate. But I'm thankful for the rainy days because rainy days force me to stay in the house and accomplish things that I might not get done otherwise. There's always a lot of chores to be done, especially in a house this size. So today I worked on laundry, and I wiped baseboards, and I cleaned floors, and I spent time with my cat. He's getting elderly, and he isn't feeling as good as he once did. So I'm trying to savor every day that I have with him and just be grateful that he's here. We have a dog too. Our dog is a black lab. I think pets add a lot to our lives. Sure makes a lot of things less lonely than they would be otherwise. Every lasagna I make is a little bit different. They never have meat in them, but I use a variety of vegetables and a variety of different noodle types. Sometimes I make my own if I'm feeling particularly motivated. I like to make spinach noodles. That's always fun. And I don't boil those, I just use those fresh. Today I'm going to use Barilla noodles, and those are no boil. If you don't have no boil noodles, you can still make a no boil lasagna. You just put it together the night before and let it sit in the fridge. If it sits in the fridge for 24 hours, it will soften up, and then you cover it with foil and bake it on a low temp for an hour. I really like the Barilla noodles though, because they're just exactly the right size to fit into a bread dish. And a bread dish makes the perfect amount for just 1 or 2 people to have a lasagna. I'm going to put this in the microwave and be right back. Not every day can be sunshine and rainbows, including mine. So on days that I feel a little melancholy, I light a candle and I make myself a drink. And it's not always alcohol. Today it is. Today it's rum. But I also like sugar-free purple Kool-Aid. And I think that music helps too. It's kind of hard to film a cooking video and listen to music, but I like a lot of different kinds of music. Lately, I've been listening to some 80s rock, and I'm also in a Jimmy Buffett era too. I know all the Jimmy Buffett songs by heart. I was so sad that he passed away. That's kind of a throwback to my childhood. I remember being very young and riding in the car with my dad and listening to Jimmy Buffett, and I would sing some of the lyrics that were a little racy, and I didn't know what they meant because I was just a child. And my dad would encourage me not to sing those songs, but being a kid, I didn't know. I didn't know what I was singing. So that's kind of a cute and fun memory. I only need about half of an onion for this because I want my husband to sleep on the same floor and possibly even in the same bed as me. So we don't want to make this too fragrant. So I'm going to slice this up. This is a sweet onion. This is one of my favorites. These come from Walla Walla. There's probably other places that grow these. I'm not sure, but I know that I like the ones from Walla Walla. And I'm going to go ahead and add this to my saucepan. Along with a little bit of olive oil. And we will get that going on the stove. And we're just going to get the onions softened a little bit. Now, if you don't have an oven, I have several other lasagna recipes on my channel that you can look at. One is a stovetop recipe, and the other can be done in a crock pot. I'm going to go ahead and add my garlic. It's hard to hold a camera and scoop out my bowl, but I did. I had to pause there for a minute. Okay, the onions are softened and the garlic is fragrant. So I'm going to put this back on my butcher block and we'll add the rest of the ingredients. We have our garlic and our onions all softened up in the saucepan, and I have pre-washed my zucchini, so we're going to slice that up. Again, I'm kind of wishing that I had chickens. That would make it a lot easier. I don't like to throw away anything. I've been reading where a lot of people will take all of their leftover scraps, like the onion peels and the end of the zucchini and the green part from the carrot, and they boil it down and they make their own vegetable broth. I haven't tried that yet, but maybe I should. Sounds like our sweet potatoes are done. That's perfect timing. I really love vegetable lasagna. It's comfort food without the guilt, It smells so delicious. And I have half a loaf of freshly baked bread left over from yesterday. So I'm going to cut thick slices of that and slather it with garlic and butter and a little Parmesan cheese and put that under the broiler and make that Texas toast. I like when I don't have to make a whole separate vegetable or salad because the casserole or lasagna includes everything we need. Okay, now I am going to move on to the sauce. We don't have to cook this on the stovetop because it's going to cook in the lasagna when we put it together. And I'm just using one of these little cans of Walmart tomato sauce. Again, with the date because I cycle things in and out of my pantry and I want to make sure that I'm rotating correctly. This one is from 326. So I go through a lot of these and I go through them quickly. I never buy sauce in a jar. I like to pick tomatoes out of the garden if I can. It's summertime. And if I can't, I use this. This is oregano. We talked about this the other day. I don't know if real Italian people use oregano or if that's an American thing. I guess I could Google it, but I've been kind of busy. And rosemary. I always put rosemary in because that's so yummy. And I'm going to add a little bit of thyme. And the secret weapon to a good marinara sauce is brown sugar, which I did not get out. Be right back. That's better. So we've got some brown sugar. Add as much as you think you need. I think that it cuts the acidic taste, and I am going to add some white cooking wine. Again, this is not something you have to do. It's just something I like to do. And of course, salt. You know, I always get criticized for how much salt I use, but hey, I like what I like. So now we have a really yummy sauce. It even smells good. Okay, I'm gonna grab the sweet potatoes out of the microwave and we will assemble our lasagna. Okay, while I got those out of the microwave, I did a little bit of cleanup. I am going to start with my bread pan and I'm gonna put a little tiny bit of olive oil in it, and this will make it easier to get the noodles out so that they don't get so starchy and stick. And again, you can use any kind of noodles you want. I love homemade, but that's not always possible or practical for me, for a lot of people. I'm going to put down a little bit of sauce just to get our flavor started. Oh, this is going to be so good. I can already tell. And then I'm going to lay a layer of sweet potatoes on here. And sweet potatoes have so much nutrition in them, and they're pretty. If you want to put meat in this, there is no reason why you can't. It's just not my preference to do that. I think that eating a vegetarian diet is really good for my family. It certainly helps with a budget, and it helps with our health too. We don't have to worry about the hormones that get injected into meat or the source where it might have come from, or what happened to it, or how it was processed. So it makes our life a lot easier. When I put down a layer of sweet potato, I'm going to put a little bit of cheese on top of it, and that makes the next layer stick a little bit better. I'm going to add another noodle. And on this one, I'm going to put cottage cheese. You can use ricotta if you want to, and there are vegetarian or vegan versions of this. You can use a vegan cream cheese. It's really good if you're looking for ways to make it completely plant-based. And another noodle. Then I'm going to put some more sauce on this. We want to have enough sauce to make everything melt. We want the noodles to kind of soften up, but we don't want it to be soupy. So now I've got my zucchinis on here. And it looks like we're kind of running out of room. So I am going to put these in the freezer for later. And I want to add some artichoke hearts that I have left over. I'm going to slice those up. Artichoke hearts are a fun surprise in here. I often shred carrot. I'm always looking for ways to get carrot into my husband. He won't just willingly eat them. I kind of have to hide them. And marinara is a great place to do that. So if you have a husband or a child that doesn't eat carrots, you can always put it in the blender with your marinara sauce. They won't know. Also, it ends up in my meatloaf, which is pretend anyway. My meatloaf is usually lentils and carrot kind of gives it the right color. It's a little deceptive, but I don't feel that bad about it. I do it because I care. Okay, we'll put just a little tiny bit of sauce on here. And we're going to put some cheese on to hold it together. And don't worry, there is a lot of air in this and it is going to cook down. I'm still going to put it on top of a baking sheet in the oven so that it doesn't spill over and make a mess. But I reserved the rest of my sauce to go on top. Oh, this is going to be so yummy. I can't wait. And I'm going to use shaker Parmesan because I am out of the fresh grated stuff. And that's always a fun little base for me. And I'm going to salt it because did you really think I was going to make a recipe and not put salt in it? Yeah, it's way too much salt. I know. It's the way I like it. And then we are going to douse this with more shredded mozzarella. Oh yeah, that is going to be amazing. So I will put this in the oven at 350 with a tinfoil tint over it for about 45 minutes, and then we'll come back and check it. This has had 45 minutes covered, and the noodles are probably well cooked by now. I just pulled the foil off so we can let the cheese cook a little more thoroughly. I kind of like it to bubble up a little bit and maybe just get a slight bit of toasting on it. Oh, look at this. Absolute perfection. I am going to pull this out and I'm going to let it rest for about 10 minutes before I slice into it. That lets everything solidify and then it's not as runny when I try to dish it up. That also gives me time to create some garlic bread. Here's my bread pan lasagna and we are going to cut into this. Oh, doesn't this look good? The noodles feel perfectly al dente. Getting this out of the pan without completely making it a disaster is a little bit of a magic trick, and I'm seldom successful at it, but we're going to give it a go. I'm going to use 2 spatulas, and we will go in from this side and this side and pull it out. perfection. Of course, there's no point in having lasagna without garlic bread. But here is my gorgeous, cheesy, gooey lasagna for one. Just because you're on your own doesn't mean you shouldn't be good to yourself. You deserve this. I hope you make this and I hope you love it. Bon appetit.